Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on Fantasy Football Scout. Today I'm joined by Chris and we're going to go through my Game Week 25 team selection. I'll also show you how I set up for Game Week 24 as I hit the wildcard button and some of my plans going forward, especially now that Bukayo Saka is injured. Chris, how are we keeping?
I am being all right. I just want to tell you, my last two game weeks were the worst game weeks in my entire FPL history, spanning some 15 years. I got a 27 pointer in game week before last in 22. I thought that was awful, just inside the top 12 million managers. And last in 23, I beat that by getting 26 points. It was outside the top 12 million. That's pretty impressive considering there's only 12.8 million people playing. So my ranks took another smash, but it is on the way back. I'm on the recovery. I'm confident we're back now. I've done the wild card like you. We can talk about that, and I am feeling upbeat, and it's working out sort of so far. So good.
Yeah, it's a great start to the stream. As you can see, this time around we're both on green arrows. We both have hit the wildcard button in Game Week 24. Good morning to you all, no matter where you are listening from. Global is from Melbourne, so hello to you, Global. But I think it's going to be an enjoyable stream, this one, Chris. Again, usually it is a bit more miserable on here as we're used to red arrows. I've off the back of, I think, 5 red arrows in a row. This time round, I know it's only Sunday, but I've 3 players to play, 3 big hitters in Rodgers, Bruno captain, and Erling Haaland. But we'll get through my team in just a second. But overall, I've been very happy with the wildcard. It's given me a little spring in my step, I have to say. I'm going into the game week and watching matches, actually quite excited again. And it's good to pick up some points. So first, Chris, before we talk about my team, let's talk a bit about your team. Again, you've only done 4 or 5 streams, so we don't know what point you're at. This would be a good point for us to reset and see where you're at. So who have you gone with on your wildcard?
Yeah. No, I did my wild card. My wild card was probably less planned than yours. Mine was out of sheer fury and desperation. But yeah, I went the wild card last week, or this week, rather, this game week, and I went with. I don't think it's going to differ from a lot of people's. I've gone triple Arsenal. I already had Rice and Gabriel. I've added Timber in. I got triple Chelsea. I brought in João Pedro and Enzo and Sanchez, all 3 new to my team, and a couple of them did quite well. Fernandez and Mbumo both in the team, and I kept hold of Haaland. I kept hold of and I brought in Mukiele. I kept hold of Rodgers, and then I brought in Munoz for a bit of fun at the back. We'll see how he does today. And then I've got Dubravka as my alternate keeper, Mane and Hill. So 3 Chelsea, 3 Arsenal, 2 Uniteds, and a sprinkling of others. I went with. We can talk about it a bit more. I went with Mane over Creepy. I had Creepy Junior in for quite a while, and I went Mane in the end because of the possible double, which we'll talk about, I guess, in a bit. So I thought just to kind of prepare him for that. But it's fine. I've got a bit of money. I've got a 0.4 left, and I've got free transfers because I've been holding transfers a bit before, some on purpose, some not. So I've still got time to tinker, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. Yeah, it looks. I'm pretty happy going forward. So how is mine different from yours? I'm imagining we've got pretty similar teams. You'll probably have triple Arsenal and Chelsea or not. Where did you go in the end?
Yeah, let's take a look. So let's take a look at my Game Week 24 team as things stand. Again, this is being recorded at 10:30 on Saturday for anyone who's on catch-up. So taking a look at my current score, I'm on 36 points, which I'm more than happy with halfway through the game week. On goal, I went with Sanchez. 4 at the back in Senesi, Gabriel, Timber, and Trevor Chalobah. 5 in midfield. Fernandez, Rodgers, Enzo, Saka with the armband, and Iliman Ndiaye. And then Haaland up top. On the bench, we got Dubravka, Krupi Jr., Anderson, and Mane. First off, Chris, we started off the game week with my biggest differential in my wildcard 24. Bukayo Saka, I went with, and I actually decided to double down. Now, a lot of people who are on my Twitter and that I've seen look at my team were in disagreement with Bukayo Saka, and to be honest, I was more than happy for them to disagree with me. For me, and my perspective on why I went with Saka, I still feel like Saka's a world-class player. I feel like his minutes from now up until the double are going to be good, and I was happy to take a punt on a premium asset that I still believed in. Now, the reason I put the armband on him is because in this Leeds game, I felt like Arsenal were going to score goals. And that they did. Now, Saka was not involved because, of course, he pulled up with an injury. But to see and Noni Madueke get assists in positions that Saka would have been in or from corners was quite frustrating, I have to say. And there was a lot of space for that right hand side for Arsenal. And also, Jurrien Timber could have had a goal or two himself. So, very, very frustrating. And to be honest, I don't agree with the fact that I was lucky. Sure, Krupi Jr. is coming in and it is a small bit of bench jam, but for me, I put the armband on Saka for a reason. I didn't want Krupi Jr. off the bench. I wanted Saka. And that's 10 million I'm playing with less this week. Looking elsewhere in the team, of course, Jurrien Timber with another yellow card. Quite frustrating. Gabriel doing the business as usual. Senesi with a clean sheet and Defcon as well, and Trevor Chalobah. It's great to have players that are so consistent, whether it's with Defcon or with minutes, and not to have so many worries. Iliman Ndiaye even got 11 Defcon himself, only one off hitting the magical number of 12, and that means for me this game week, the armband goes on to Bruno Fernandes, which I'm more than happy to have, but I just felt like Saka was such a good differential at such low ownership. It was a good chance. Rogers and also
I like it. I mean, I can't get behind the Saka. I can't get on the Saka bandwagon. I obviously love Bukayo. I think he's an incredible player for Arsenal, for England. He actually went. I think he went the same school as my son.
No way.
He's down in West London. He was certainly one of our teachers taught him. It's my son's teachers. So he's so. But yeah, he's a good differential. I mean, you've not only got him, you've captained him. The problem is he could have, because he had that slight niggle, he could have played it at 10 minutes and then come off, and you'd be sat there with a single pointer, and we could have all gone wrong. I've gone with Rice. I didn't actually play Timber this week. I've given Munoz a chance for hopefully some crazy goal jam, but yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Leeds were always going to kind of be a bit more open at home. They've been very attacking. That was going to create chances for Arsenal. Arsenal have really struggled against teams that have done the low block and made it hard for them, and they've struggled to push forward and be mainly getting goals from corners and stuff. But whereas Leeds were always at home, especially at I think they're one of the highest scoring teams at home, or certainly highest XG or something. They've been certainly. I was looking at this today, and they're always going to go for it. But yeah, and that created opportunities. And as you say, it was Madueke that was taking those opportunities or getting involved, and latterly Martinelli rather than Saka. But yeah, if Saka had played, he could equally have come home with a huge haul today. So that kind of proves you're right and wrong at the same time. you were right in that he could have hauled, but you're wrong in that he's obviously now. He's now a doubt going forward. And Fernandes as captain, well, that's it. I mean, we can talk about captaincy. I've gone Haaland in the end. I was changing between Haaland and Fernandes all week. And I finally went with the big fella just on the basis that he's got to come good again in the league soon. And Spurs defence, if he can't score against that defence and the way Spurs have been playing in the league recently, then maybe that's the time. I might get rid of him. But yeah, no, Saka, good pick. And yeah, Senesi, love Senesi. So I've had him before. He's at Bournemouth this week. You've got double Bournemouth points then in the end. So you're on 43 at the moment, actually, in reality. Is that right? Or
yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
36. Yeah.
So just on Saka, I see a lot of people getting onto me, but then you have to realise that the one everyone went for with Declan Rice is 2.5 million less, and he's also blanked in the last 4. So what difference does it make? I mean, what are we spending our money on? So very disappointing.
It's not as fun. Declan Rice isn't as fun, but Declan Rice is the top scoring midfielder in the game still, I think. I'm going to double check that. He was.
Antoine Semenyo is 1 point ahead.
Yeah, but he's obviously taking set pieces as well, and he's gets the odd goal, and he has been usually a pretty reliable for DEFCON, but not this week. But yeah, I think either way it's a fair choice. You're more exciting managers than me, Chai, and I think it's very you that you've gone Saka and captained him. You're kind of full on get in there. I love it.
Yeah, it just didn't work out this game week, and I'm unsure how I feel about Saka. We'll get onto it in my team selection in just a second, what I want to do with him. Again, the bench is maybe not the greatest, not the worst, but if it came to it and it was just a little tweak, maybe there is some sort of potential where I could keep Saka and just play Joachim Anderson, who plays Everton next week. But again, we'll get into that in just a second. Yeah. I just want to go through some of the Chelsea picks. So they were slightly underwhelming in that first half versus West Ham. I say slightly, they could have conceded 2 or 3 goals at a minimum.
Oh, awful.
Yeah, I was watching them and I was going, what is going on? What have I got myself into? And then Trevor Shalva, of course, coming up with DEFCON. Sanchez with a clean sheet, or not with a clean sheet, with a 1 point for 4 saves. And also Enzo Fernandez coming up with a last minute goal and taking off his shirt, getting a yellow card. But that's exactly why we went with Enzo Fernandez. He's been doing it all season. Quite similar. I'm not going to compare him to Frank Lampard, but the positions he's picking up is what we like to see from a central midfielder. So very happy with Enzo Fernandez. And that's the thing with the DEFCON guys. And it's why going into the game week I was so excited to wildcard. When you have players like Senesi, Gabriel, Shalaba, the floor is much, much higher, even if they are conceding. So very happy to go with them. And hopefully there's more to come from those guys. But looking at the remainder of the week, Chris, did you go with Morgan Rogers yourself? And if you did, are you excited or scared going into this Brentford at home game?
I'm excited. So I've got left. I've got W United. I've got I've got Fernandez not captain, and I've got Rogers. And sorry, I'm looking at my points now. And who else I've got going? I've got Haaland, obviously, as we both have. I've got Mukiele and Munoz. So Rogers, I think Rogers is great. I mean, he was never really. The problem with the game at the moment, when you wildcard and it really comes into relief, is there's a lot of midfield options. There's too many midfielders, and then in certain at forwards, you're maybe not quite as. It's a bit more of not a paucity because there are options, but if you could get six or seven midfielders, you do that, right? Because there's so many good options, whether they're DEFCON monsters or whether they're kind of creative players. But Rogers was never seriously in doubt. I mean, he's and especially where Villa are playing. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, and I think Brentford are you just don't know what you're going to get, right? They're not. I live not far from the ground, so I see them occasionally. I can walk to Brentford from here to the G Tech, but yeah, that they you're never sure what you're going to get with Brentford. But I think this is a game that Villa are going to go in confidently, looking to win. Obviously, it'd be likely be Abraham, not Watkins starting from what we're hearing up front, and so that might be a bit different. So we'll see how that works. But Rodgers is always there or thereabouts, and I'm expecting a return from him. Anything like 5-6 points above, I'm kind of happy with. I'd love a double digit, but I can see him getting something, getting an assist or getting a goal. That's what he does, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm fairly confident going in with Morgan Rogers. He's probably the one that I was very excited to own. When I watch Morgan Rogers week to week, his shot volume is absolutely ridiculous, and we know he's a quote unquote good finisher, whether or not you look into that or not. And he's also a player that Emery absolutely adores, playing 90 minutes no matter what. Maybe not ideal that he had to play more minutes midweek because of Watkins' injury, but still, he's a player in rhythm. And for me, the fixture run for Villa is so good. And Emery will look at the games ahead with their current league position, in my opinion, and they'll be going for it. So I'm very excited to own.
Yeah, I think the fixture ahead are good. You've got Brentford, then you'll wait to Bournemouth, which, Bournemouth have got back on a level after dropping right off. But that's a game I think Villa can get something out of. Brighton as well at home and Leeds. I mean, like the next four look decent, and it's Wolves. I mean, they've got a good run. This is a good time to have putting aside doubles and all that sort of stuff. This is a good time to hold on your Villa assets. Certainly, I wouldn't be looking to move anybody on from Villa at the moment.
Yeah, and just touching off Erling Haaland again, who plays against the mighty Tottenham today, my own team.
How do you feel about that? How nervous are you about that one?
Yeah, so it's one of those games, Chris, this season, similar to when we played them that time where Arsenal were also on the league and we wanted to lose under Ange. It's a very similar situation this time around, except this time around we have 12 injuries, I think, in our first team, and it looks like we're going to be playing a lot of players out of position from what I understand, and some of the leaks that I've seen. I think it's expected to be a 5 at the back again. Again, I could be completely wrong by the time the team news is out, but I don't think we have much to choose from. But I think we could see Paulina at centre half, Kevin Danso, Archie Gray at right back perhaps, Basuma in there, and also Colin Wani playing up top with Solanke. So I think it's going to be some mad team. But to be honest, I don't know how I feel going into this game. You look at the table, and thank God Chelsea beat West Ham, and it pains me to say it how we are or where we are in the league. I mean, the fact that I actually need a result from Chelsea.
West Ham get win that, and suddenly it's very squeaky bum time for a lot of clubs, because then they've closed that gap on Forest and Leeds and Palace and Spurs. And the thing is, though, it's still so tight. Yeah, you're 8 points above the drop of the game in hand. I think that's pretty safe. But then, you get a couple of wins in a row, and suddenly you're in the running for Europe. It's so crazy tight. I think between like fourth or fifth and where do we go down to? There's 6 points between fourth and eighth at the moment, so it's stretching out a little bit with Chelsea, with Liverpool and Chelsea winning, but it's still very open in that middle.
Yeah, that's the thing for me though. It's very squeaky bum time, especially for a club like us. I mean, in my opinion, 2 more injuries to the likes of a Solanke and Romero, and with those fixtures, things are not looking good. So it's getting very close. I'm not loving the fact that there's not a whole lot of noise. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, Chris, but the deadline is tomorrow for the transfer.
No, I think the deadline's tomorrow. So it's a Monday, isn't it? So yeah, it's been quite a quiet transfer window.
Very quiet, and
maybe there's going to be a flurry of stuff. There's been a few deals and stuff. We're still waiting to see if Palace gets Strand Larsen or where Gassan goes and all this stuff. There's a number of them like in process. I think Turek George to Everton is like, I don't sure I'm excited about that or not, but like, I don't know. Everton desperate for a striker. We need some, although Barry and Beto have both now started scoring.
Yeah, but Barry, what a player.
Beto got his last minute.
Beto yesterday, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm surprised that Spurs haven't brought in really much in because they, with the injury crisis, you feel it's pretty important. I mean, you haven't got a crazy small squad or anything, but you have got a lot of players out. And I don't know. Do you think they're not backing Frank? Do you think it's because they think that maybe Frank's not on his way, so they're not going to throw a load of money at him? Do you think that's part of it?
I think it's definitely part of it. I think the second thing is they don't know how to recruit in a situation like this. It's an unusual position to be in. Top 4 in the Champions League. And
I know.
I don't even know where we are in the league. I don't want to look, but it's so
you
unusual.
You're all right. You're 14th. That's not. I mean, it's not like that's. As an Everton fan in recent years, 14th would be quite respectable at this point. So I'm not. I know for Spurs, it's not like where you were last year. You were right, dropping all the way down. But can we just say about Champions League very quickly? What a night! I love that format. My God, I'm playing UCL Fantasy badly as well. My only thing I'm doing well this year is Saudi and EFL. But yeah, what a night! What an end! Did you see that? Right? Did you watch the coverage right to the end with the two men getting up?
Unbelievable, Chris. I was watching it and
to Benfica, Mourinho.
The only reason I was watching it was because Mourinho was the manager, and I saw the circumstances, and I was there in pain. I think it was one of those things where you realise that they don't understand that they need to score a goal, and then as soon as they realise they go and score.
Sort of slow playing it out the back and waiting and stuff. I was going, what are you doing? You've got to get another goal, and then. But no, you can't. I mean, you really can't write that stuff. It's incredible. Keeper comes up last minute, boost, goal, we're through. And then, of course, in the draw, they're playing them again. So they're going to play them in the knockout. It's mental. It's just going to be. I don't think any team that Madrid wanted would not be Benfica again after that night.
Absolute cinema. And Real Madrid did
anyway,
look like
but Spurs. Congratulations, Spurs. By the way, congratulations on getting through. I mean, that all the clubs apart from Newcastle, didn't they, went through automatically. Newcastle obviously they've got a very, against Karabag, they've got a very good chance. Karabag, not Karabag, like that. Karabag. They got a great chance in the was it Kairat? I can't remember the play. Yeah. But they've got a chance in the to get through, a good chance to get through. So we should see all the clubs through to the last 16, which would be fantastic. Good for our European coefficients and stuff as well. But
absolutely.
But anyway, so Spurs, we've got Haaland. What do you think today? Do you see this could be the day that Haaland gets a big haul? Are you worried about not having the captaincy on him?
It's been a while since Erling Haaland has got a big haul versus Tottenham. I mean, Romero and Van de Ven seem to do somewhat of a decent job on him. I mean, this season they locked him up, and Romero is just so aggressive. He doesn't give him any space, and I don't think that will be the case today. I do think we'll be in a spot of bother, and we're due a big beating off a City, in my opinion. Now, I'll always back us, but given the circumstances and how I feel like the energy is, I don't think, and I'd be very surprised to see us get a result. Am I scared to go against the captaincy? Absolutely not. I mean, I put the vice captain on Bruno because I'm quite confident on Bruno with Fulham at home. And if it doesn't play out that way, so be it. I have no regrets. So that's my team for game week 24, Chris. Again, very happy with the wildcard currently. It's going quite decently. Let's take a look at my game week 25 team selection.
Let's go for it.
Wrong background. Give me 2 seconds.
That's all right. Because I'm as it stands, I'm not thinking of changing a damn thing. So that's where I am. We'll wait for you to show your thinking. I'm super happy with the team I've got. I've got transfers to do it, but the only thing that's going to start impacting my decision is going to be, which we'll talk about once you've done that, is the 26, obviously. But yeah, it's sort of in there. There we go.
There you go.
It's not quite. Yeah, it sort of works. We can sort of see. You might move it. There we go. Look at that live. It's a glimpse behind the magic. It's like seeing behind the set in Hollywood. You just see it's all made of wood. It's fine. We've got it. It's perfect. We can do the job. So yeah. So you're thinking of starting with Saka. So you're not making what? There's no changes in that, is there? You're thinking of just rolling, or is this what you're thinking?
So this is my current team for Game Week 25 as things stand. 2 free transfers, 0.2 million in the bank. For anyone who's listening, let me quickly run through the team. On goal, we've got Robert Sanchez. 4 at the back with Jurrien Timber and Gabriel once again. In the beside him is Senesi and Shalaba. 5 in midfield, Saka, Bruno with the armband currently, Rodgers, Enzo and Ndiaye. And up top, we've got Erling Haaland. On the bench, we've got Dubravka, Krupi Jr., Anderson and Mane. So, where to start with this team? Well, the first thing for me is I'm actually very, very happy with this team currently. The problem is, of course, Bukayo Saka. What I want to see first off is how this game in the cup goes with Arsenal and Chelsea before I make absolutely any moves with my team. I will not, telling you now, if Chelsea somehow magically progress, which I think the odds are probably gone up a tiny bit since Saka's injury, I'd like to think. The tiniest bit. But I will wait for that fixture. Of course, given if Arsenal beat Chelsea, then Arsenal will double in 26. If Chelsea win, and they'll double. I've already got triple Chelsea in place. And I've also got Iliman and Ndiaye to cover that potential upset. And if Arsenal somehow lose, I will not bring in another Arsenal asset. I will actually pivot to someone else, and I'll be more than happy to do so. And I'll actually start setting up the team to get 6 Everton and Chelsea players. But I think right now I am going to play the patient route. I'm not going to get rid of Saka just yet. I am going to get rid of him this game week because, in my opinion, even with a double game week, you want a player who's going to get at least 140 minutes-ish, I want to say. And even if Saka is back by then, I don't see him getting both games now.
Yeah, I agree with you. If there's any doubt at all, he's not going to risk him in both those fixtures, especially when he's comfortable for some of them. So yeah. But you'd have to have. Would you then do the Rice transfer then?
Yeah, I feel like I'd be almost forced to. Again, there are not many other options. I think the only way I don't go Declan Rice is if Saka's projected to be out a bit longer than it seems, and I'd probably be tempted to go to Noni Madueke perhaps, because on that right hand side he looks electric and he has been quite good this season. So I think I'd be more than willing to take a punt on someone who's a bit more forward with their attacking potential, I suppose. Again, Rice is hard not to look past because he's so good for DEFCON, and over a double game week he might tick away nicely. But you know me, Chris, I would like to do.
You're a maverick, man. You want to go for something completely different. So is there anyone else you're thinking this week? So if Saka's not in and putting aside the double game week for a minute, who would you be going for? Is there someone in the midfield that's standing out for you? Someone you haven't got that you would like to go for a week? I've heard some chatter about Wirtz and Ekatike. Obviously, Wirtz.
Chris, I captain Wirtz.
I know you brought him in for 1 week. Your captain, you got rid.
So I'm very familiar of owning Florian Wirtz this season so far, and to be honest, I watched that game yesterday, and he was, he was very, very good. He looked one of the bright spots in that team.
I mean, goal and assist. I mean, it's a great return, isn't it? I mean, both him and Ekatike. So I had Ekatike for 5 games. I had 6 games. For the last 5 games, he got 5 points across 5 games. So I had no qualms getting him out. But then, he's obviously anybody that's held on to him is delighted. It's a great return. Wirtz is starting to show the promise. Wirtz obviously in Bundesliga was huge. That was a transfer. I mean, both of these were transfers people were very excited about, and Wirtz, wow, what's he going to do in that midfield? And obviously he's been massively disappointing. But I had him at the start of the season. But yeah, I think I'm not sure I'd rush in against City, mind you, but I'd definitely be keeping a watching brief on him. But yeah, is there anybody else you'd think this week? Yeah, 25 that stands out as a good option you don't have?
Just to continue on Florian Wirtz. So the reason he appeals to me so much is because we're after wildcarding early, unfortunately, I'm in a position where I'm forced to make a transfer. Ideally, it would have been nice to roll as long as possible, but that doesn't look like it's going to be the case. He plays the blank in game week 31, and he
Yep.
also has a double that is likely to happen in game week 33. He's
Yep.
one of, I think, four teams who have a fixture in 31 and double in 34. Other options are the likes of Newcastle, Brighton, and Burnley. I might be missing a team or two. Chelsea also are a team that do that currently, but I think it is very, appealing to me if I somehow
And the
don't want to go to
fixtures
Rice.
after City, which defensively are not as the team they were, they can definitely concede. But after that, and that's at Anfield. After that, their fixtures incredible. They've got Sunderland, they've got Forest, they've got West Ham. It's a great run of fixtures to own. Own and Wolves. Sorry, I keep going on. It continues, and then Spurs. Sorry, but like they've got a heck of a run, really. Brighton away. Yeah. I mean, you could go early, get him in. I think a lot of people will be looking at him if he's doing this again against City anyway. I think he'll be a top transfer in, putting aside the double. But yeah. So you thinking about it? Would you do that? I bet I can see it. I can see it's done, isn't it? You've already done it.
I mean, it is definitely one of the potential options. The other one is, of course, Cole Palmer. He's after playing that game versus West Ham. It maybe surprised me a bit more than I expected due to the minutes. Again, I can't get to him because I have triple Chelsea, but I think for Saka owners, it would be quite tempting to get to a Cole Palmer, and I don't mind
He
it.
could have had a goal. He could have had a goal. Probably ugly should have, shouldn't he? He had his chances. So yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, the problem with Palmer is just it is that persistent injury again. You just don't know when something's going to flare up, and then you're stuck with a very expensive asset. But if you're happy to keep shuffling, then yeah, no, that's and obviously Chelsea have got. But the problem with you for Palmer is you've obviously got three already, right? So you'd need to do some shenanigans to get him in.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a problem,
runs,
really. I'm more than happy to have Enzo, Shalaba, and Sanchez as long as they're getting consistent minutes. And I think out of all the Chelsea assets, they're most likely to get the best minutes. Seeing the likes of Marc Cucurella and João Pedro, who are not nailed for the minutes apparently, still get returns was quite painful because they were definitely two that I did consider, specifically Marc Cucurella. I went out my way to see what positions he's going to be playing in this Liam Rowe senior team, asking Chelsea fans, and he did score but didn't play or didn't start the game. So it is what it is, and I'm happy to hold Trevor Chalobah. Cucurella's not going to score every single game week, but other than the obvious ones like Florian Wirtz, I think the only other option that I could look towards really is Brian Mbeumo. I think he's a phenomenal option, of course.
Yeah,
and
I've got him already. Yeah.
the problem with me getting this Saka injury is that I had a chain of effects on my current team. I mean, if I hadn't have gone Saka and just started with Rice, I could have easily done perhaps Iliman and Zoi up to Mbeumo, and also had money on the bench spare to do a Mane up, which will be a fixture that I won't want in the future anyway. So quite frustrating in that sense.
So tell me a question. Tell me about NJ. I'm Everton fan, right? So I'm kind of I get it, but I don't get it. Like that's an interesting. Is that just the price? You just see that. I mean, he is explosive. He's great to watch, but it doesn't always translate into fantasy points. So what was your thinking with NJ? Just he's come back. He's got the AFCON in his pocket. He's in good. What are you? No Grealish, so he's going to be the creative asset again. What are you thinking?
Yeah, for me, a player on penalties, regardless of how good or bad Everton are going to be. Player on penalties, first thing.
I didn't say we were bad. I don't know what I
said. He also has DEFCON capability. Won off DEFCON last game. He's hit it a few times this season so far. The fixtures aren't the greatest because they're away fixtures, but in my eyes, decent enough fixtures. For me, he is the main man at Everton, which talismanic figures is always
no Dewsbury Hall love, no KDH.
No, I prefer the penalty taker, of course, 6.2 million.
Fair enough.
And he comes in at very good value, in my opinion, and also...
Yeah, no, I think it's a good price. It's just, I mean, you're a differential manager, man. I love it. I love that you just go off. The fact you've picked Saka, I'm not going Rice, I'm even going to captain Saka. That's how full on I am. I love it. And enjoying there. But yeah, the problem is, as you say, you've got, with the money, Saka kind of one way or another has to go if you have that flexibility. I've got questions in the group here about best, which is relevant, about best at Arsenal triple up. I guess both of us think that Timber and Gabriel are two of them, right? And then it's a midfielder. And for me, it's Rice. For you, it's Saka. If it wasn't Saka, it would just be Rice? Or if Saka was out and Madueke was playing every week, I would be interested in Madueke. I think he's a much underused asset, and every time he's come on, he's looked great. But what if if you had three from scratch and you could pick who you want, would it just be the two defenders and Rice or something
To
else?
be honest, at this point, it might actually just be Raya, Timber, and Gabriel. I mean, Arsenal just look so good at, and they have done consistently for the whole season. I mean, I might just triple up on the defense and call it a day. You've absolutely no worries. I mean, I don't see Timber and Gabriel with how close they are to the league now, and Raya missing the game for the rest of the season. I'd be
You
very
just see
surprised.
they're the fixtures. Yeah, there's going to be rotation elsewhere. They're the fixtures. They're going to get more clean sheets than not. And I think the problem with Raya is just that the I don't think Arsenal concede a lot of shots necessarily, and I don't think then so it's clean sheets, yeah, but the ceilings is quite low, and whereas obviously with Timber and Gabriel can both get involved in the goals, they can Gabriel can get defcons. I think that's kind of why I'm not as, and Raya's so expensive. It's just a lot of money tied up in a keeper, and there's once the clean sheet's gone, that's it for you really. Chelsea, like Sanchez, will get more shots against in the right in an average game. So there, yeah. Apparently, you chose Anjai because it rhymes with chai. That's what we've been told.
The most
I don't
logical
think that was your
explanation.
decision making, but fair enough.
Buna is back. But yeah, no, I don't regret NDI. I'm actually happy to own him going forward. Again,
Yeah.
it's also the 10% chance, Chris, which I'm trying to make my look on if Chelsea
Yeah.
somehow beat Arsenal. I mean, that had to be considered for me.
Well, let's talk about that then. Let's talk about a double game week. So we are expecting a double game week 26, depending on the results in the cup, which will be, is that Tuesday or Wednesday night? That'll be before the deadline. So you got plenty. You should. No one should make any transfers this week at all until they've seen that. That would be insane. I mean, to do that, I think you've got to see what's happening and think about that. The expectation then is it would be. There's an article about this on Scout. If Arsenal go through, it's Arsenal with the
Brentford and
double,
Wolves.
isn't it, in 26, and it's Wolves, I think, is the other team. So I had it in front of me and I've managed to lose the page. And if Chelsea go through, it's Chelsea and Everton that have the doubles. I think that's correct. Is that as you
That is
understand
correct,
it?
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is there's an article about it and the various permutations on Scout. We can put it in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, we've both got treble Arsenal and Chelsea, so that's sorted either way. Although you've got the Saka conundrum, but yeah, if say it is Arsenal, say they hold on and go through, you've then got Wolves who will have Forest away and Arsenal at home. I've got Mane for that particular reason. You've got Mane as well. Would you go more Wolves?
Absolutely not. I left 0.2 million in the bank in case I wanted Jose Saw. And then I didn't actually go with Saw because the links with Forest. Then Forest ended up signing Ortega from City. So
Yeah, I know.
I don't regret it at all. I'm actually more than happy because I think Sanchez plays a home fixture versus Leeds that game week, and I couldn't see myself benching him. Now, sure,
No, this is the thing. I was looking at Sarr as well, and I was like, but he's not going to get any clean sheets. So, like, what's the point? It's just like, what are you playing for? A couple of appearance points. I can't see where else you'd go in Wolves and be confident of getting. I just can't see it if it's a Wolves double. I don't know if I'd want another Wolves player either. I get it. It's great to have doublers, but I think I'd just be stuck with a four and go with it. Mane for me is the best option. And then if it's the other way, Chelsea and Everton, does that make a difference? Because it'd be Chelsea, which you've already got against Leeds and away to Everton, and Everton home to Bournemouth, home to Chelsea. So you've obviously got Njai, as you say, for that reason. Would you, in the other circumstance, go in on more Everton assets?
yeah. So the thought process for me was I know the bookies have Arsenal at about 10 or 15% chance before this game week started to progress in
Yeah.
that cup game. For me, I think it is maybe a small bit more in terms of, like, for me I'd have Chelsea 20-25%. Now I know that's not how it works and it's based off bookies odds or whatever, but if I think
You should open your own bookies. You might lose a lot of money. I don't know.
like if I think that there is a slight bit more of a chance that Chelsea somehow progress, and in the back of my mind it's just losses to the likes of United, which that's a very rare thing, I know, and United were absolutely up for it and phenomenal, but I also feel like Chelsea have been good under Rosinha, and he's even surprised me, to be honest. And I feel like there is a chance, and Tarkovsky for me becomes essential if they somehow progress in that game. Again, a player who's going to get
Yeah, no,
death on.
It's Keane was such a good option but until he started getting sent off every game. um, but Tarks is more reliable for DEFCONs. He's just a lot more. Well, I mean, compared to some of the other options, he's not. But he's more expensive than Keane, obviously by a chunk. So yeah. No, okay.
So
Would you? But
going,
wouldn't be worried about Barry and Beto then?
I actually wanted to have Barry on my wildcard, but I couldn't stretch Mane to get to him. Again, just
Yeah.
because the fixture in 31, Mane is going to be a player who's going to have to exit my team sooner rather than later after a double game week as we start prepping for blank game week 31. But for me, for now, the plan was later down the line, whether it was game week 27 or game week 28, uh, knock Saka down and bring in Thiago as his fixtures start to get good. Now, that might have been a Saka down to Kevin Shade, but it looks like it's going to come early for me. But yeah, Brentford go on a great run of games, and I'll be looking at bringing in players who either one have absolutely excellent fixtures, or two have a blank game in 31 and a double in 33.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you about going forward. So it's interesting you're getting onto the Brentford run. I mean, I think, as I say, obviously 25 and 26 are going to be affected massively by that double. Would you also, within the double, while we just can close on that, are you looking at a chip in that? Are you looking at a triple captain or a bench boost or anything? Is there anything in that? I don't think. Yeah, I'm not sure about bench boost, but are you triple captain in potentially in 26?
The plan was to triple captain Saka after his holes versus Leeds and
So
Sunderland,
this
but
plan of yours is all hinging on
it's
on
gone
one
out the
man who's got
window.
a nice injury record at the moment. But yeah.
Very unfortunate. So unless I do Gabriel, which I think would be very, very, very popular in that double game week, I don't see myself using it. Look, I think I might hold on to it. I think Gabriel is a phenomenal option for what it's worth, and I can
Yeah.
understand why people will do it. But for me, I think I will hedge towards perhaps doing it on Erling Haaland in one of the two doubles that City might have. I think I'll be more than happy to do it. And by then, I expect he's back to scoring ways. So I think I'm going to play the patient route.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I think I won't be able to play the patient route. I think I need to start making some point recoveries to get within a rank that's just embarrassing and not absolutely disastrous. So I've got to get inside the top 1 million. I've never finished outside that, and that was my worst season ever. So that is my. I haven't completely given up on 100k, but I think it's unlikely. But I think I'll get inside that top 1 million, which I don't know why it's going so badly. So I think I'll definitely go, and Gabriel's definitely up there. I don't think I've ever played. I very rarely play captaincy on a defender, and I don't think I've ever played triple captain or on a defender before. So it's going to be an interesting time. But Gabriel's as safe as you can get, really. There in those matches. So yeah, okay. So at the moment, so we're waiting to but you're not going to make any transfer with Saka until you see the double, obviously, right? You're going to hold off until we see that result. I think I could go either way. I agree with you. I don't think that's a shoe-in that Arsenal are going to walk through. I think Chelsea. Rafinha's interesting. I mean, he's like, they managed to look awful for periods. It was the same against in the Champions League, but he does make changes and he does seem to get a tune out of them at the moment. He has a great start. So yeah, who knows?
And this season so far,
I
Chelsea
think
have put it
Arsenal
up
can
to.
beat it. I don't think they're not like invincibles. So it'll be a good game, I think.
Absolutely. And just what Dylan is saying in the chat, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to play all of the chips in whether it's a blank in 31 if you want a free hit, which I don't think will be
Yeah.
a popular route, but then you have the big blank likely to be in 34, which I think will be the most popular by far, Chris. I think it's almost a no-brainer by how things are going to land, and then the double game
Yeah.
weeks, whether it's 36, 37 or 30.
So yeah, so keep your free hit for like 34 and then 36, 37. That's where you can play either bench or triple if you haven't played it now. But yeah, I think I'm going to lean towards getting the points. But we'll see. We'll see what the match is. If it's Chelsea going through, I don't know. Maybe would I go on João Pedro? I don't trust him. Play both games either. Enzo maybe, I don't know. But yeah, no, this is great. This is great. Have we got any questions? I'm just seeing if we've got any questions in the chat here. Is Saka injury how serious? I don't think we know. Do we? Have we heard? I'm looking on the site. Usually Neil's very up on that. I'm just going to see if we've got anything about Saka injury update. Here we go. Let's see what it says. Yeah. It was just he put to an injury in the warm up, didn't he? That was it. Yeah. So according to Scout's report on this, and that's according to my. So that's in the warm up he had a little niggle. He wasn't comfortable starting the game. So that's what Arteta said. Immediately we made a decision to make that change and bring Noni in. So yeah, I guess the thing is we will know if he just starts on the semi final. Then I guess your worries, you just hold him and your worries kind of over, and maybe it was just a little niggle, right?
That would be a
So
dream come true, but I don't see that being the case, in my opinion. But who knows? I'll be patient and I'll be waiting. And I'm very much looking forward to this game midweek, Chris. And we're going to wrap it up there, lads. It's been a very enjoyable Sunday morning as usual. Thank you, all of you guys, for joining us today. And best of luck for the rest of the game week. Before you leave us, do hit the like button and subscribe to Fantasy Football Scout. Chris, anything left to say?
Oh yeah, no. I was just going to say I don't know about bone injury. Check the site. We'll be up on that. That's true. Someone was asking for. But yeah, thanks guys. I'm hopefully I'll be back next week, and hopefully I'll have a much my rank will at least have a 3 at the start of it. If we could just lose the last one, then I look like I'm ahead of you. We get rid of the 7, then I'm actually ahead of you in the ranks. But yeah, no, I'm hoping it's going to be a green arrow, and hope all of you have a green arrow. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to a double game week. It's been ages we've actually had. I play the EFL game. There's double game weeks every bloody week, which is great. But yeah, I've missed it in FPL, so I'm really looking forward to that happening and some big scores. But have a great weekend, whatever you're up to, and enjoy the football today. I hope Fernandes does well, but not too well. And I do sadly hope that Haaland rips you apart. Spurs bad. So sorry about that, Chai, but I could do with a decent return for my captain. But yeah, I will see you. I'm off to Qatar actually, but I'll be back. Maybe slightly more tans, but I'll be back for next weekend probably. So see you then.
Cheers, guys.